And so the contractors, who had cheated death countless times before, cheated death once again, and Lingor was forever changed. The contractors, with the aid of the cartel, stormed the UN naval base. They hacked into the VLS fire controls of the UNA Aegis thanks to Ivan Morozov's virus. With fire authority gained, they launched a devastating salvo of missiles at all major factions on Lingor. Hellfire rained from above, delivering a decisive blow against the cartel's enemies. The contractors hid away in the cartel safehouse, waiting until a pickup could be safely arranged. After many weeks, a Tricon helicopter touched down, and the contractors quickly loaded up, ferried away to safety by none other than ya boy, Big Rob. The workers at the IDAP Aid Center didn't stand a chance. Their furious insistence that no weapons be brought onto the site didn't do a thing to prevent multiple cruise missiles from hitting their headquarters. IDAP publicly blames the UN for both bringing the destroyer to Lingor, something IDAP disagreed with for some time, and also for not adequately defending the ship. IDAP quickly withdrew survivors after the strike and is not planning to return, citing significant safety concerns. Petrochem Oils Limited, already in shambles after multiple senior executives were killed, didn't stand a chance after the missiles hit. With the destruction of several oil wells and the oil rig itself, the executive board made the decision to suspend drilling operations and withdraw from Lingor indefinitely. Initially, it seemed that would be the end of it, but following an anonymous source leaking some sensitive emails and files, a criminal case was brought against them for colluding with and sponsoring the LFIA. Multiple arrests have been made, and the company is officially in liquidation. ION PMC once again had to issue a public apology following the exposure of Petrochem's activities. They insisted they were not aware of the collusion. It's hard to say for sure, though, and based on previous experience with the Cefru campaign, it does seem a little sus, that's for sure. UN Task Force Samaritan was crippled by the strikes. The UN had been dealing with a lack of public support for the deployment anyway, but this was the icing on the cake. With countless UN peacekeepers dead for ultimately nothing, and the loss of several expensive pieces of military equipment, the UN made the decision to deactivate the task force and withdraw from Lingor. In a public statement, they blamed the LFIA for the missile strikes, explaining they believe it was LFIA saboteurs that hijacked the Aegis, and in the confusion, they managed to strike their own bases as well, thanks to a lack of experience with the VLS system. Regardless, this deployment will be in the history books for all the wrong reasons. The LFIA suffered greatly, with the missiles killing all their senior officers as well as destroying their main supply infrastructure. In the following weeks, most LFIA soldiers deserted, with some simply vanishing and others joining the cartel. In one of the few public statements issued after the strikes, they rejected the UN's accusations and insisted they had nothing to do with it. They blamed the UN for not being able to secure their multi-million-dollar warship, which some claimed was a fair accusation. Since that broadcast, there have not been any official statements, and the general consensus is that the LFIA as an entity does not exist anymore. After the cartel took control of some LFIA bases, they found information stating that there had been small pockets of resistance from surviving elements of the government army, the Republic of Lingor Security Forces, or RLSF. It's not known why the RLSF ignored the presence of Tricon. Maybe they didn't want the help, or felt they couldn't be trusted. Regardless, it's clear they didn't last long without help, and were overwhelmed by LFIA forces in the weeks leading up to the strikes. With no one to oppose them, the cartel thrived. They had free reign of Lingor, with countless LFIA and UN ammo dumps abandoned. That meant business was booming. Unfortunately, aiding the civilians of Lingor isn't very high on their to-do list, and many innocent people have died since the strikes, from either starvation, illness, or straight-up murder following cartel shakedowns. And so the contractors' road came to an end, for now. In the new world of Lingor, fighting continued, blood was spilled, and many lived and died, just as they had in the old world. Because war never changes.